All right, man. Hey, L, thanks for making the time today to come and speak with me for today's session, man. Do you want to, before we start, just introduce yourself, tell the people who you are, what you do?
Oh, sure, yeah. So my name is Larry or L, and I'm an indie game developer. So that's sort of my dream and passion. And I also make music and I've been rhyming and producing and stuff, since for a while now actually, and still trying to collaborate and make connections and yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably been over 20 years, man. Do you want to talk about how you started rapping, producing beats, or can you explain to me, was it rapping first or producing first?
Oh,
What was
yeah.
first, man?
The first producing that like when I first so like the first record that I bought was Big Daddy Kane's Long Live the Kane, and I think it was 88, 89. And when I heard that I was just like, how did they do this? This is just incredible. And of course the rapping, I mean, Big Daddy Kane is amazing, but I was really drawn by the music, and that was the thing that hooked me in, is how did they do it? And so I wanted to like learn how to construct the song and all that stuff. It was just a natural thing, I guess.
Where were you living at the time? Were you in Japan or was it in Hawaii when you
Oh,
started messing with that?
this was actually in Clark Air Base in the Philippines.
Oh, dang.
So it was yeah, it was before Mount Pinatubo erupted. And yeah, that's like the first, my friend, he showed me basically rap music, and I was just blown away by it. I had heard some songs before then, but it didn't like hook me in basically. So that was
Oh,
like the start.
I didn't realize you were in the Philippines too. So are you an Air Force family or?
Oh, my dad
Okay.
was in the army, but we
Okay.
ended up living on Air Force bases, and also a Subic Naval Base also in the Philippines. So a few stints there over in Clark and Subic.
So Big Daddy Kane, dude, that's not a bad start at all, man. Who else were you
Nah.
listening to?
Oh yeah, in
The
those
time?
days, you had Big Daddy Kane, EPMD, Public Enemy.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff. And I'm trying to go through the history, but like Special Ed, and just a lot of those those artists, of that style, that particular style. And that was the first thing, especially Public Enemy, just the production and how it was different. It was just so different and like aggressive and raw, and that really drew me into. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of, as a little kid, that's what I was listening to. Yeah.
Yeah, your start definitely predates mine, and so just kind of wondering where you got all the equipment from, man. Like just being overseas, the access to some of that stuff was
Yeah.
quite difficult. What were you
Yeah.
using?
So it started with so I had this idea. I had a stereo, basically a two-deck stereo, and it had a pause on it, so you can record and pause, unpause. And so I was like, oh, well, I could just like record a section of a song and like, just time it, on like the first of the beat, and like loop a section. And then I also had this karaoke machine that, my parents had. And
Oh,
that,
dang.
yeah, that had like a pitch knob on it basically. So you can like pitch samples and things, or I call them samples, but put a tape in, play a
Yeah.
section, try to get it to match the BPMs of of what I had looped. And I would just use a microphone and put it up to the speaker. And then I would just keep
That's wild.
layering it. And that was the original way that we recorded songs, of just like looping and just constantly adding samples over the top, and then finally rhyming on it basically.
Oh, I was trying to figure out how you guys were doing that stuff. Is that kind of the method that you used in Japan, or were you a little more advanced
Oh
at the time?
yeah, by that time, yeah. So I started doing the pause tape thing, and then I got like a little 8-second sampler, the Gemini DS8, and it's really
Uh-huh.
Sound quality is not that great, but that was the first, and it was the same concept. So I would like sample a hi-hat and then I would loop it and then put that on. I had a 4 track and I put that on, the first track, then had kicks, then snares, and
Man.
whatever else. And then I would resample that into the sampler and
Okay.
then just keep doing this process of resampling and layering and adding. And then eventually, with the help of my mom, she helped me uh, get a loan for an ADAT.
Whoa, that's
And
awesome,
then,
man.
yeah, that was next level. And then
Yeah.
I saved up for an MPC, and that's when my whole world was basically changed. I was
Dude,
just like,
you
yeah,
couldn't have been like, I mean, you were just in high school or even
yeah,
before
I
high
was in high
school, right?
school.
When that happened.
um the MPC, yeah, that was in high school. Yeah,
Oh,
so that was, yeah, or right around, yeah, I don't really remember the years,
yeah,
honestly. I don't remember. I just remember it was in Japan.
yeah.
Yeah, just going Tachikawa. There's a music store, and I would see it was in this glass box,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, oh gosh, that's like the most amazing thing. But
Wow,
yeah,
man. So my frame of reference for the L was that late '90s when you guys were living in Dakota, right? So that was kind of the time I started rapping too. But it's funny, man. Like as I got to know a little more people in Hawaii, where you also spent some time in, I heard that you were rapping before that in a group called Lifted Sons. So
that's
I
right.
don't have
Yeah.
too much background in that. Can you explain that before we go into like the Japan time? Can you talk
Yeah.
about that period?
Oh man, that was amazing. So yeah, we moved to Hawaii, and my brother and I we were ballers. We would go to the court and play ball, and we just happened to meet some brothers down the street, Melvin, um, Benji, and Wando, and so we met them, and we showed them, oh, we like to rhyme. Do you guys rap at all? That was basically through all high school. That was like the thing to get friends is, do you rap? And so that's basically how that started. We just met friends and
Yeah.
showed them some of the stuff that we were doing,
Okay.
and they were into it, and yeah, they started rhyming and kind of formed this group, Lifted Sons.
Yeah.
And a few years later, like before we moved away from Hawaii, we spent an entire weekend. So my parents had moved everything out of the house, so everything there, we had an empty house. So my friends came over for a weekend, and like we didn't sleep. We recorded like 24 songs.
Oh no,
Just,
man.
we had all the gear in like the living room, and
Yeah.
that's where you would record, and everyone was in the, like in the bedroom with the air conditioner. And so we would, we'd be like, hey, call, it's your turn, go do a verse. And then so it'd be like, just like a factory almost of recording, just this amazing session of recording and yeah, making that album.
So I can put it in time order. So Hawaii was first before Japan, then is that correct?
I had actually lived in Japan before Hawaii.
Oh,
So, and I was making music at that time as well.
okay.
Uh, and then we moved, and yeah, so it was, Clark, uh,
Okay.
Subic,
All right.
Yokota, yeah, Hawaii, and then Yokota again. So
Okay.
it was
Oh man, so I didn't realize that you were two stations into Yokota, and so for the individual crew that I know in both
yeah,
guys, so that was the second time you went to Yokota, then late
that's right.
'90s.
Yeah,
Ah, okay. So nobody that I know now was in that first
the
tour of duty in
first,
Yokota. Is that
right,
correct? Okay.
right. Yeah,
All right. But I did hear the name Melvin in your Lifted Sun stories. Is that the
yeah.
same Melvin centric? Is that?
Yes.
Oh man, that's
It
so
is the
crazy.
centric, yeah.
So I thought,
Did you guys work together? Have you guys done anything?
so we
Oh,
connected too. Same thing. Like when I had been exposed to your music, I saw the name,
yeah,
but he wasn't like part of that initial crew, right? So I knew like
yeah,
of Tag and Seppi, Rain,
yeah,
all
yeah,
those guys. And then I think as I got deeper into music, I heard Centric do some production on the Jerry Jopa album.
yeah,
I
yeah,
hadn't known him, and then and then we connected for some reason during my tour, my first tour in Hawaii between 2017 2020. I don't know if like Cabot or my
Oh,
boy
Cabot. Yeah.
High Poetic go ahead and introduced me. I can't remember now,
Yeah.
but I talk to him now, and so we had planned on doing music together. He actually reached out not too long ago, man. So he's
Oh,
still like
that's
interested
awesome.
in doing stuff. But yeah, really, really good dude, man. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so okay, so he actually predates all the folks that I know. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then I even heard some Lifted Sons tracks, man. So yeah, yeah. So my man Fix from Information had just a stockpile of like old Hawaii hip hop, right? And
Oh,
so, yeah, yeah. And so he had Private School and some old Light Sleeper stuff, and then the Lifted
yeah.
Sons track, which I didn't even realize it was you, man. He was like, "Yo, this is the hell, right?" Like he knew like we did stuff together, and I was like, "What?" Like he didn't. Oh man, I had no idea that you did stuff like
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
even before Yakota, man. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
So Lifted Sons, how many people were in that crew?
So that was me, my brother, and Kapuni, Melvin, Kala. So it was a bit five of us.
Okay, you
That
still
was the
keep in touch with
original.
them? I mean, I know you still talk to Melvin, but any of the other guys?
Yeah. My brother does talk to Kala a lot. Kapuni passed away years
Oh,
ago,
sorry.
but yeah, we do keep in contact for sure. And of course, I make music with Melvin still.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. Your brother is Ray, right?
that's right.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah. Is he in Washington too?
he is. He's not too far from here.
Oh man, he was
Yeah,
also a great man too. Is he still doing music? No.
he's doing music. I think he's more into actually, I don't know. I can't answer
Yeah,
that for him because he
yeah,
kind of just does different things at different times. So
yeah,
I think he might rap again though. Like Melvin is kind of poking at him.
yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully, yeah,
That's dope, man.
yeah,
Well, hey, I'll jump fast forward to the time period where I first learned about your music. So late '90s again. It was still just an idea in my head. And, I started getting exposed to all the folks who were doing it in the local scene. So again, like you, I was
yeah,
listening to stuff, all golden age era music. It's a good
yeah, yeah,
thing, and yeah, there was no better place, man. And I was kind of like fortunate to grow up overseas, right? Because then we would kind of hear all the good music from all the different sides of the world, right? Rather than like
yeah,
growing up on the West Coast and you be exposed to like West Coast rap, like Too Short and so on. And so
yeah.
yeah, that's where I kind of
Where were you at like in the late 90s or in
Oh, okay.
Japan?
So I started in Atsugi. So
Oh,
I'm a Navy bred, and then I did elementary school there, sixth grade, and then I did middle school, high school at Zama. So I did that up until the 11th grade,
okay.
and then my dad had a PCS, and I did my senior year in Yokosuka. Man, that was wild. So but,
Oh,
being
wow.
like a Zama
Yeah.
dude, and then my last year I graduated at Kinnick High School. Yeah, so that was pretty
That's
rough,
pretty
right?
cool.
All like the
Yeah.
inner rivalry between the schools and stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but it was good, man. And so
Oh man.
yeah, and so Zama, like I got exposed to Shamal Cassette, who was going by Tiger. He was going by his Tiger at the
Oh,
time, right?
Tiger, yes.
Yeah,
Oh my
right.
God.
Yeah, and then he even had like series of different names, right? Unity, but he had his
Unity,
crew
yeah.
Ill Assailants, and they were like the dudes that were setting off in Zama. And then
Oh
Yokosuka, they had
man.
a couple guys, but Yokota is where I first learned about the individuals and also First International Players were the other crew that were doing the
Yep.
music too as well.
Yeah,
Um,
they were big, man. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and so but I mean, I knew like Noel and Gerald and Chris and all those guys,
Yeah.
and so they were tied in with Rain, who
Yeah.
yeah, same thing, right? Rain was like doing it, and it was a big deal, especially him being a Filipino guy too, doing it back
Yeah.
then, right?
Yep.
That's pretty unique, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I learned about it, and then I would always see like at the whatever, if it was like a Far East Far East Championship game for whatever sport, everyone would get together at the after party, and then I would see all the different crews rap and so on. And so
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome, man. That is
yeah,
so cool.
and so I'm at Rain one of those parties, and then eventually I got hooked up with the music that you guys did, man. So that was really cool. So with that, the individuals crew, man, amazing crew, Motley crew, dope MCs, man. But at the time, man, you guys were way ahead of the
Oh yeah,
time,
that
doing some cool stuff, man.
yeah,
You want to talk about that real quick?
well, I do have a memory of so I had heard about FIP, just for like a year. Like, these guys, they're amazing. And I had graduated high school, so I was out by that time. And,
Oh,
I was, doing songs with Rain and Dave, and, we were doing our thing at Seppi and, Rory. And but I do remember that I think it was Rain. He sort of orchestrated, a posse cut, whereas
oh,
FIP individuals, and it it actually did happen. And they came over, and like in my parents' living room, we stayed up all night just recording this posse cut,
oh man.
dropping our verses in front of each other. Like everyone's like sitting there, you just record your verse. And I do remember like going late into the evening. It, kind of got a little out of hand and a little silly, just all tired. But we actually did it, and it was super cool. And that was just a good memory basically of like working with those guys and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
played sports with some of the dudes on FIP. But for the individuals crew, what was the origin of that? Like, how'd you guys all meet, and how'd you guys become
Oh
IND?
yeah.
Yeah, did you
Um
all that?
yeah, so I first met so actually what happened is when we moved to Yokota the second time, I was out of high school, and so I was going to go to a University of Maryland there basically. Um and my brother, he was going to high school, and so he met Seppi, Rayner, and Tag basically, I think. And
Okay.
you know um he just kind of he introduced them to me. And it was kind of funny because they had heard the music that we had done in Hawaii.
Uh-huh.
And I was heavily influenced by like Mob Deep and
Yeah.
Nas. So I had kind of a gritty flow, I guess. So they were expecting a rough dude. But when I first met them, I just I had like a tank top, skinny little kid with a tank top making beats. And I was like, hey
Yeah.
guys, yeah. But that's when we first met, and it just kind of took off from there. I actually, our family lived right above Seppi, so he was, one floor down, and that was really easy to like make stuff and kind of go back and forth and
Yeah.
collaborate and stuff. So it was really easy after that. It was just yeah, it just kind of came together organically, I guess. And yeah, starting the crew was just we made songs together, and just like, oh, we gotta come up with a name or something.
Yeah.
And we thought about Lifted Sons, but I think it was my brother. We just like, well, let's just drop that and grow it, like Wu-Tang, basically, just kind of add people to it and change the name.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as like I remember how that came about.
All right. So the original crew was you, your brother, Seppi, Rain, and Tag.
Yeah, and I would include Melvin and
Okay.
Kaala and Kapuni. So it's the Hawaii crew and the Japan crew. That was
Okay.
like the whole, you know, set
Individuals
of
crew.
individuals. Yeah,
Oh, that's wild, man.
that's how I yeah felt about it. And yeah, and so Melvin did come to Hawaii, and like we did, tracks. He was a part of some songs with everybody. So
So that
yeah,
there was a Hawaiian chapter, and then folks in Japan. So all those guys, the guys that I know, did they were they rapping already before you guys linked up, or did they
yeah,
hear
they
your
were.
stuff? And oh, that's wild, man.
Yeah, they were into. I remember they were heavily into like hieroglyphics and Adele and stuff like that,
Uh huh.
which was totally cool. And I think we were more of the like East Coast type of New York sound or whatever, like DJ
Yeah.
Premier or whatever. And but there was a fusion of that, and so yeah,
Yeah, that was crazy, man. You couldn't have asked for like a better combination of folks all at the same time and all at the same place. So, yeah, I just
absolutely, yeah,
was really amazed at the music that you guys were making, man. It was yeah, it was
yeah,
really good, man. And so yeah, as I was starting to rap, I would get the mixtapes and songs that you guys were doing. That was really cool, man. Well, hey, late '90s in Japan. Growing up over there, and then it's also an amazing time for music, the golden age, right? Hip hop, man. Can you talk to me about just the Japan scene at the time? Were you guys hitting up Yokohama, Tokyo, or Roppongi, and getting up there, or was it just mostly localized in the Yokota area?
So actually, I think Rainer and I had met some other artists. Unfortunately, I don't remember all the names because
Yep.
I was just working with guys, but I think they were more active as far as doing shows, and I had only done like Rainer would ask me, "Hey, you want to DJ and do a show?" And I would do it and scratch and then come out from behind the turntable and rap or whatever. But I wasn't really at the I was more of a background dude, so I didn't get into the performing and stuff. And although I would definitely, be interested in trying to do that now in life. I think I was a little too shy basically back then. So
Sure.
I wasn't as active in the scene.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty wild, man. Yeah, just a lot of good venues that catered to
Did you do a
youngsters
lot
being
of
able
shows
to
there?
go out, right? Huh?
Yeah. Did you do a lot of shows?
So not in Japan. I was still like
Yeah.
it's still my early start. So I would go
Oh,
around
gotcha.
like to the ciphers and then do
Yeah.
it at some of the local spots. But I was still like at the beginning of my
Nice. Okay.
yeah my music, and I actually like didn't really seriously start doing it until the year before I left to go to school in
Oh,
California. So the summer was kind of like when I first rapped at a black party in Tosca, and then
oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's when I got my first taste of performing. And then
Nice.
I started picking it up, and that time was about 97, 98.
Oh,
I was
okay.
really into
Gotcha.
Outcasts and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
time, man. So, hey, with that, man, so you including on something that I wanted to talk to you about. So, man, you're a man of many talents, man, and you rap, you DJ, and you produce, and so yeah, how do you find time to balance all those skills, man? And do you have one that you prefer over the other? Do you feel more comfortable doing one?
Oh, oh, that's a good one. Um, well, I think now in life it's more of you just go with whatever, the feel is. So like, I've always wanted to learn piano. So even though I was producing and all that stuff, I still would like try to take piano lessons and, learn that and guitar. And I think it's more of just, yeah, whatever you think brings you joy in that moment. But back then, I didn't go out much. I was like really in the room, just trying to, like I'd just buy a bunch of records and go through them and try to find things to chop up and try to be as original as possible. And so that was, and also learning the MPC and just learning like production tricks. That was the most of my time was spent doing that. And rapping was more of a, hey, like a I loved it, but my friends were rapping and they looked like they're having fun, so
Yeah,
I'd want to join in too. But it wasn't that wasn't the first thing that I got into. And but yeah, so balancing that's it's just a hard thing. It's always something
yeah,
you know that's
yeah.
kind of
Your
a struggle.
your
But
production style is I'll have to applaud you, man. You have a pretty sound that I really like. Right? Way
oh,
you produce
cool.
like really takes you back to the '90s style of hip hop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so the drums, do you program them? So it sounds like it because you use the MPC, right? Are you programming the drums, or are you sampling the drum loops?
Oh, I always everything is chopped for sure. So I
Okay,
never just sample something straight out.
yeah,
Yeah, I always have to try to modify it. But yeah. Even like real drums, like if I've like a friend like recorded real drums, and I would still chop that
top them
out.
up,
Yeah.
man, chef, dude. And so yeah, and so what was a lot of the stuff that you guys did in the '90s? Was that all you, or is that anybody else producing the beats?
Oh, my brother, he got into producing as well, and so
Okay,
he made some songs on. We did an album called "Lover's Complaint," kind of a
yep,
mixtape thing, and so
okay,
he did some tracks on that.
okay.
Yeah, and he's also amazing at producing and rhyming. You know,
Dang, that's crazy,
yeah.
man. So yeah, like a lot of stuff I was exposed to was your stuff as well, and it might have been also his stuff too as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it had that like that '90s sound, and then after like moving on from Japan, and then years later, and then I ran into your future too as well, right? Fear Makes, right? And stuff after that. That sound is still there, man. You've still been able to maintain that sound that takes
Well,
me back to the
I'm
good
stuck
times.
in
So
time.
yeah, no, so yeah, it's amazing, man. It's like, man, I
Oh,
can't
cool.
find anybody who can emulate that, right? Like, yeah, I just really like
Oh,
the way
cool.
that you make
Thanks.
beats, man. So
I
yeah,
appreciate
very,
it.
very versatile, man. And then when I went through your catalog, I know you can do some stuff. But that's just very unique and like very
Oh,
cool.
thanks, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah. And then when did that DJing come into that? So was it DJing after that? After you
Oh,
started to produce
that
beats?
was that was a start. I think it started in Hawaii when I started to get into like scratching and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. But
Are you
that
self-taught?
yeah, yeah, I just, yeah, we didn't have YouTube back then. I'm trying
Yeah.
to realize how the heck that came
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, I was
But
trying to figure out if like somebody had taught you or you were just messing around with because you're a fantastic scratcher
yeah.
as well, man.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm so far, below like the DJs now. It's just insane. It's so insane. But I think it was just fooling around, but I did
Yeah.
realize years later that, I'm not doing it right, basically. Like my
Well,
style of
why
scratching.
you say that?
It's just the way that the fader, like I know most DJs who like scratch fast, like the fader will be on I guess it would be the op or closed, or just the way the crossfaders,
I see.
that you can adjust it. And I'd have to tilt the table or rotate it. And, I just sort of found a way that works with, my hand position basically.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so it's hard to scratch on just like a normal setup. I gotta like move things and you know, yeah,
Hey, whatever you do, it works, man. Like, so
yeah.
all good, man. And then obviously, we had already talked about you rapping and stuff. But as far as rapping, man, was there particular MC that you try to emulate your style off of? You're a very
Oh
lyrical
yeah.
guy, man. So yeah, that
Oh,
I love about
thanks.
you too, man. So very very heavy into the lyrics.
I I was influenced. So I think I went through stages. Like Drez from Black Sheep was huge. I thought it was so smooth. You know, um, a Nas, Mob Deep, of course, and then Tribe Called Quest. Just the energy of it. Um, but I honestly didn't feel like I had like a voice until like the past 5 years or so. Like
Oh
I
wow,
felt like I was just sort of still figuring things out. And so I think I'm starting to find, uh, to find my voice, so to speak.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, man. I mean, I think I really love how the way you enunciate your words. It's very clear, your delivery, and it's
Oh,
very
thanks,
very
man.
deep in lyrics. So very cool, man. Well, with that, man, so we went through kind of the origin of the L, and so when you consider, uh, like when you first put an album out, when was the like, hey, we're gonna actually drop an album now. We're done making tracks, and we're gonna put
Oh,
something together. But when
um,
was it? When did that happen?
so that's kind of funny actually, because I had sent you some songs, and you've seen like the two solos, but I actually did a solo album like 6 years ago, and I can't find it. I don't know where it's on
Oh man,
Bandcamp somewhere.
no, oh man,
It's somewhere out
oh
there. But that came about. So, my brother and I, we made a like a indie rock album, I guess, like in
yep.
the 2000s. And, I'd gotten into other genres. And so kind of felt like something was missing. And I found my old MPC and, dusted it off. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to make a like a real album here. So that was really it. So I just did that. And after that, I started doing tracks with Rainer again, and
Yep.
KO and Dave. And then after like doing that, I was like, I'm gonna make another solo. And and then another solo, just just for fun, as a goal, basically.
Yeah, so I saw all the stuff that you had sent me so that I could listen to before we spoke. But the one that I'm familiar with, and we'll go back a little bit. So Jerry Jopa, Lovers
Yeah,
Playing, right? And so I saw a lot of entries for Jerry Jopa, but that was the mixtape I had in hand. I even owned a copy at one point, man.
oh
So
man,
which was
that's
cool. I don't even know. I don't know if you recall like making it on cassette, but I for
yeah,
some reason had a copy,
that's
man.
crazy.
Yeah, I probably do, man. It's got like the girl on the cover, right?
Yep.
On.
Yeah, it's a Natalie Portman. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding, huh? I
Yeah.
did not. Oh, that's wild, man. And so, was Jerry Jopa like the crew name before, or what was the story behind the title?
That was something my brother came up with. He had when we were recording, he wanted to do something different, but still sort of individuals, but
Yep.
just with a different artist name. That so that was, yeah, that was sort of his creation, and
Yeah.
I thought it was, super cool.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, man. The tracks were banging. They were great, man. And it was that period that I was exposed to all music in the 90s. And then as I was listening to the album, man, dude, Tiger was on the track with y'all, man, on that track,
yep,
on that
yes,
album, man. I was like,
it's
whoa, man. Like,
that was the I call it the submarine ping track. I forgot
okay,
the actual title, but
yeah.
yeah, Tiger. Man, I love that song.
Ooh,
Yeah.
was it you and him, or was that you and your brother?
Um, it was me and him.
Okay,
It was, yeah, me and Tiger. Yeah.
'cause you and your brother sound a little bit closely alike on the mic too, as well, right? No,
Yeah, but his rhymes are sharper. His delivery. Yeah, yeah, he's got a flow. But yeah, that was me and Tiger.
Woo, that track was hot, man. But I didn't even know that you guys were actually recording music. I know you guys were in the same network and same circle,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize there was a
Yeah.
Tiger and
That
L
was
track.
Rainer. I think Rainer introduced us, and I
Woo,
think we have more tracks actually too, but
oh man,
they're
I gotta get my
probably
hands
on
on that stuff,
ADATs or
man.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that was amazing. So that was a pleasant surprise, man. So again, that was a great collection of boom bap tracks. And
Yeah.
that was when Seppi was still like hardcore rhyming too, man. I can't believe
Yep. Yeah.
he doesn't even rap anymore. That's so
I
crazy to
know.
me.
Yeah. That's every once in a while I gotta, hey man, are you sure? You sure you're done?
Yeah,
Because man, he could freestyle, and like he was just crazy. Like you just record him and like let it go, basically. But yeah, he's amazing.
yeah.
He's actually a huge like influence too. I just wanna, because we live near each other, and he got me into so much other like music and stuff, and sort of
Yep.
broadened my palette, basically. And so yeah, I'm like indebted to Seppi, basically.
Yeah, he's got a taste, man, and I've
Yeah.
known him over the years too. And I always try to get him to rap too as well, but he just,
Oh
yeah, I don't know,
man.
maybe he does on the down
Yeah.
low. But,
This summer, man. This summer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I was like, man, he had some good stuff, man. And I mean, he wasn't producing back then too, right? Was he just rapping back in the day?
Oh, he was actually. He
Okay,
was. Yeah, he was producing. And yeah, and his style is completely different than everyone else's, like in my
yeah,
opinion. He's just so creative, and just, yeah, just different. It's, yeah, pretty amazing.
yeah. Before I talk about the future albums, man, like your whole crew too, you guys all like individually like separated and still went on to do music, and some of
Yeah,
them still
yeah,
do, and they're all great too, man. I know Tag was doing stuff in New Mexico after he left Japan.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yep, and then he, I think now he's more of a DJ now, but that guy.
Man, yeah,
So we always
Tag.
talk about it too. He's great too.
Yeah, he can rhyme. And there, and even, I don't we haven't mentioned him, but Felix, DJ Prominent. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's
Yeah, so I know the name for sure.
yeah,
I don't know if I just wasn't in the same
he
circle and I just didn't know him.
yeah, he, like, I worked, he was, I think, in the maybe eighth grade or something. Like he would ride his bike across the, yeah, across the runway, and come over to like do music and stuff. And but now, like, he's a super producer, man. He's just like, he did like a beat a day, and every beat is amazing for a
Dang.
whole year. And that was actually one of the reasons why I got back into it, because I saw what he was doing and I was like, oh man, he's living my dream. So yeah, it was a inspiration, man.
Yeah, and then Rain, he went moved to California, and then he was doing his stuff too as well.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
he hooked up with KO, who's in
yeah.
Texas now, and I can't remember the other dude's name, but I think he might have been the producer. But there was three of them, and they were going by by Western Goods, right?
Yeah, yeah. Western Goods, yeah.
Yep. And so I was from Vacaville, that same area that he was
Oh,
from. So that's where we had crossed paths. And he even
cool.
like we invited him to come over to Santa Cruz to do a show with us, where we opened
Yeah.
ISP, which was cool. So it was just Rainer though at the time, but
Huh.
that was where we kind of connected. Even Chris Floresca too was rapping too, man. Like I don't know if you remember him. Do you remember him at all? He was
Um,
part of that crew with Gerald and them, but his name was Chris. I was
Chris. Yeah.
gonna say bald headed Filipino guy, but there's probably like
Oh, oh, yeah.
it's
Oh,
probably not a good description for the
that narrows it
dude.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, and he
That's
went on
awesome, man.
to yeah, he had to do a little stuff. He had a little crew called Digital Martyrs.
Oh, okay.
He was doing music stuff too, but yeah,
This
that's
is
where
all around Vacaville?
I was, man. Isn't that crazy, right?
Wow. Yeah, what are the
Yeah.
odds of that? Dang.
And then Seppi, obviously he's in Louisiana now, and he's still doing music too. He's still
Yeah.
DJs, and he's quite active in the scene, and he's got vinyl and cassette and stuff, and he's still amazing as he was back then, man. So cool.
Yeah. And Dave Davis is still in Japan
Okay, so
producing and
that's
writing.
that's where I didn't know the story. So were you guys with Dave Davis then at the same time?
That was it was a little bit after, I think,
Okay.
but it was still the same group. And
Okay.
I think it was Rainer that introduced Dave to us, and
Okay.
he's, yeah, started doing music with him.
As well. So he was later on. He came later on in the timeline, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Towards the end of our time there in Yokota.
yeah, that's dope, man. And so you guys also put out some great music too, as well, man. Do you want to talk about the music that you put out with him and KO real quick?
Oh yeah, yeah. So KOLD, that's the group that I guess we made several years ago. Originally with Rainer, but then now it's just KO and Dave and me and Centric. So I don't know if I
Oh,
mentioned it, but yeah, we have another album coming out called Rough Diamond, and
Nick.
Melvin is, yeah, heavily on that. So I'm you know excited about that one too. So
Nice.
another
Yeah, is it
collection of
KLD or are you guys going by Cold? That I would just.
okay. Oh, I I say cold mostly.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
yeah, but
Right, so
KOLD, yeah.
Centric's now part of the group, right?
Well, yeah, this last album, he's on quite a few tracks.
Oh,
So, and
that's
it's been
great,
awesome,
man.
yeah, to hear him, to get back into it. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
that
been
was
amazing.
great, man. That was yeah, it was definitely a pleasant surprise. I think you guys have done two albums, and this is the third, right?
This one's actually, because it's so many tracks, it's split up. I would call it the second, but
Oh, okay, okay, all right. So there's a part
but
one and two.
technically it's third, yeah, I guess.
Oh, okay, good. Well, hey, man, I'm looking forward to that release, man. So that's awesome, man. So when Dave, when you guys met Dave in Japan, did you actually
Yeah,
guys get to actually record tracks out there too before
yeah,
or
yeah.
you
That
actually like is living in Japan still though too, right?
he's living there. Yeah, at the time, Dave was he'd come over and he'd rhyme, and I think he started getting into producing then,
Hmm.
and he kind of took that on. Like he also kind of like Seppi, he has his own complete style, and yeah, on this next album, it's pretty amazing to hear some of the things that he comes up with. It's so unexpected at times, and
Yeah.
it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a gritty voice, man. I like his delivery, man. You know, and it's
Yeah, he is from Detroit. Yeah, he
oh,
was
okay, is that where he's
blessed
from?
with that voice. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I like it, man. It's got that grit, man, and his delivery, man. And yeah,
yeah,
yeah, he's a dope producer too as well.
yeah.
So very cool, man. So I look forward to that release too, man, as well. What would you say the album was called again?
It's called Rough Diamond.
Oh man, that's gonna be exciting, man.
Yeah,
Well, good, man. Hey, I'm gonna walk through some of the albums too that
cool.
I ran into and listened to. Second album I saw was Blurring, and that was some experimental L stuff, right? And you were trying some new stuff with
Yeah,
electronic instrumental music.
that was me just sort of yeah, uh dipping into some electronic stuff and just learning, programming synths and stuff like that. So yeah, it's experimental stuff.
Yeah, you still dabble in that kind of music.
Yeah, yeah, I do. From actually, that's something that I do want to get into a little bit this year. Is just a few different things here and there. But
Oh man, that's
yeah,
super cool, man. Yeah, so that was a pleasant surprise too, as well. So I didn't know you were doing that kind of music too. And I had even
yeah.
heard that even before we connected that you were doing rock music for a while. Was that you, or was that your brother, or was that
Oh, it was both of us.
both of you
Yeah.
guys? Okay.
hmm Yeah.
Oh, like were you singing too, or are you guys just producing rock music?
My brother sang. We made a an album, and he sang all the lyrics. He wrote the songs, and
Wow.
yeah, yeah. I wish we could like re-record it and kind of redo it, because there's some he's I feel like he wrote some pretty amazing songs, and there's
Yeah.
still a touch of a lot of the like beat production and stuff like that. There's still elements of all of that
Yeah.
in the music, but yeah, that was something my brother and
Yeah.
I
Does that
did.
album still exist?
It does. It's yeah, where is it? That's a good question. Yeah,
One day.
I have to find it. Yeah.
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 That'd be dope, man.
Yeah.
And then and then went on to run into your individuals ad hoc album, which was also another collection of tracks that you guys did in the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
That was some polished individual stuff, man. That was good
That
stuff, man.
that was here. That was actually here in Seattle.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
You guys all recorded together. It wasn't like assembled via, virtual
Yeah.
means.
Like I remember like Tag would come over and visit, and he would rhyme, and it was just like a collection of, over time, these songs kind of being put together.
Oh
And
man, that's sick.
yeah.
I own
Yeah,
that
that was
CD
cool.
too, man, as well.
Oh,
So
yeah, that one's actually different too, because that one was not made with the MPC. That was when I had learned how to make beats on a computer.
nice, man.
Yeah,
I mean, the lead off track was hard. There's the Pop the
yeah.
Blood Clot, which
Oh
was
yeah.
super hard. And yeah, I love Brainstorming and Rap's Possibilities track. And that was
Yeah,
where I got
yeah.
a full taste of like Seppi and lyrical mode. He did the Wicked Witch track,
Yeah.
and then
That's my
just
favorite
freaking
one. Yeah.
fired freaking verses from start to finish. I was like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool, man. So I'm glad that that album too still exists on the internet. Yeah,
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
surprised. I hadn't heard it for so long, and just brought back some good memories. Good times. But that was all post Japan, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If I remember correctly, yeah, that was done here when we first got here. Yeah.
And so fast forward years later, so I was in California, and then doing my own thing. But then eventually, in 2021, man, I ran into your album, and yeah, nothing was probably the first album I did in a while, or maybe not. Fear Makes the Wolf. Uh,
Oh
but
yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, that was my re-exposure to your music again, and I had no
Oh
idea that you were still doing music. I know you did stuff with Rain and them in like the
yeah.
late mid 2000s, before 2020, but yeah, I just no, I didn't know you're still doing music. So that was a great surprise, man. Fear Makes the Wolf was again. It also took me back to the time, to the beats that you were
Yeah.
doing, and just yeah, it was some signature L stuff, man. Do you want to talk about the production of that album and how that came
Oh
about?
yeah. So before that, I had made a an album with Rainer. So he
Okay.
kind of reached out, and we did an album together, and I wasn't using an MPC, so I was kind of learning about other samplers out there. And so Fear Makes the Wolf, I found the sampler called The Deluge, and it's a yeah, you'd have to look it up. I don't really know how to explain it, but
Yeah.
it's a a different type of a sampler, and that was kind of the inspiration to like, oh man, I can make a record with this thing, and that was what kind of drove things. And if I remember correctly, Zevlov X, like he passed away, or not Zevlov X, what how I know him, KMD, the
Yep.
yeah. He had
Doom,
passed
Doom,
away.
right?
Yeah, Doom, of course, right. And that was like, oh man, it hit me. And so like that first song was the first thing of like, oh man, I gotta just do something because I have so many memories of, KMD and listening to that. And so that was kind of the whole thing. And then uh, I've been like living with anxiety for years. And so that was the sort of the main uh kind of point of the album was, living with anxiety. And you know I think the saying is fear makes the wolf stronger, but I
Yeah.
just left off the stronger part. And so it was a way to cope and just kind of, yeah, get
Yeah,
some of
that
that
was a
stuff.
great album, man. And so I think that's
Oh,
where we connected, and then and started
yeah.
talking to you more about that. But it was great, man. I hadn't purchased that album. So
Oh, cool, man.
well, what a
Yeah.
pleasant surprise, and what a great album, man. And yeah, I should backdate a little bit. Talk about the album that you did with Rain. So that was that the Indestruct album that you did?
I'm sorry. That was the,
Indestruct, is that what it was called, right?
yeah.
Or was
That's
it?
right. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that album was great too, man. That was like that I thought was like more aggressive, just good old fashioned battle tracks with the
Yeah.
Western Goods crew, man.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
good.
That
Who,
was
who
fun.
who produced that album?
That was me and um I think there were other producers, but
Yeah,
I don't remember the credits because Rain would like ask me to rhyme on something.
yeah.
And yeah, and it was just kind of put together that way.
Did you go to California to record that album, or did you come up to
Oh
see
no,
it?
he recorded it. He recorded his stuff there. I recorded here, and
Yeah.
it was pretty much done that way. And I think we did like a couple music videos in the same way. Like
Oh, sick,
he
man.
had filmed stuff there. I filmed stuff here, and yeah, so
Yeah.
it was
Oh man,
cool.
yeah, that was a great album too, man. So a lot of stuff in the inventory, man. Really dope. And then 2022, in a stereo field, was
Yeah.
the follow up album to that. Again, dope, man. Dope music.
Oh,
I
thanks,
was
man. Yeah.
lucky enough to feature on two of the tracks on that album, My Spit Game and How Lucky We Are, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for the invite. That was
Yeah.
really fun.
And oh, dude, that I'm so thankful, man. Yeah, that's been a blast. And of course, the next album, the last piece. Super
Yeah.
excited about that.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, man. So, yeah. So then, we started doing a little bit of music together, and then track after track, we started to assemble that album, right? The last piece
Yep.
album, and Remshot, my
Yeah.
friend, longtime producer, produced the album,
Amazing
and
producer,
it
man.
shaped out really nice. And so that's out now on
Yeah.
Spotify and all streaming networks. But I was really proud of that album, man. I really enjoyed putting it together with you, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was a unique sound. You want to talk about your perspective on the album, how it came about,
Oh, likewise, man.
your
Like,
thoughts?
yeah, just like hearing Remshot's production, and then I'd hear your verse and I'm like, oh my God, I get to rhyme on this. Like, don't screw it up. That was like my approach of just, yeah, you know trying to keep up with you guys, really. So
Oh,
it was amazing, man. It was fun. And I know we did it over a year, right?
yeah. I was still in Korea when we started recording, and I don't think I think we talked about maybe just doing songs at first, and maybe doing an EP, and then
Yeah,
here we are, 13 tracks later, man. No, only went with
that's
12, but
crazy. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
yeah, that was super cool, man. And so the album's out now, and I've got like a lot of great responses, and then again,
Oh, it's so cool, man.
pushing out the physical copies of the
Yeah.
album via Icy Palms Records this summer. So I'm excited,
Yeah, gotta
man.
watch out for that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
thank you for doing the art too, man. Holy cow,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what you can't do, man, but yeah, you did the art
That's
for that
awesome,
too
man.
as well. So that was great, man. And then yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on, man. And then the Cold album coming out, so super
Yeah.
cool, man. And that's why I like reached out to you about the other two albums, man. In the stereo field and Fear Makes the Wolf. I mean, it's so easy to push stuff out digitally, but an
Yeah.
old school guy, and I like having physical copies of the album in hand. And so
Yeah.
there's still like a population of that. That's why I had mentioned like, man, you should like send those off to the label and see if they want to push them out, because
Yeah.
I think those are classics too, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. I'm gonna look into that, man. I've
Yeah,
never
yeah.
even thought about it. So it's so cool.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. And so yeah, and that's really cool, man. Well, what else do you have lined up though right now?
Oh, so musically, I do actually want to since I do game development and I love producing. And I went on a trip recently and I tried to carry my MPC and it was a little cumbersome. So I was like, oh, I need to somehow, create a sort of kind of like a beat making music app, but you would use your like controller basically.
Oh
And
man.
so I've been recording some sounds and things, and I'm gonna make like this app, this that you can sequence and do fun things with using a controller and sort of make music that
Cool.
way. So that's a side project, but and I do game development, so I'm
Yeah,
trying to release a couple of games in the next year. Um,
yeah.
yeah, one's called Forest Grove, the other one's called The Curse of Grimsey Island. They're detective games. So
Those are games
and
scheduled to come out. Is that correct?
yeah, in the upcoming year, and
Okay.
there are Seppi did some music for one of the games, like
Oh
kind of in the
shoot, man.
background. Yeah, so it was pretty cool. Trying to get some of that into the games as well. Working, collaborating, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand. That's amazing, man. While we're on the subject, man, do you want to shout out some of the other games that you've done? Check out.
Actually, those are the two ones that I would, that I'm promoting basically.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you're into first person detective games and, science fiction or whatever, then definitely check them out
Yeah.
for
How do
sure.
you go about finding where those games are? Are they
Oh, yeah, so
sites or apps?
on Steam basically.
Okay.
So they're on Steam, and Forest Grove will, hopefully be on consoles as well. So
Oh
your
man, that's
Xbox,
exciting, bro.
PlayStation, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, is that
Yeah.
2023 or 2024?
Hopefully 2023.
Sick, man. Well,
Later
hey,
this
man,
year. Yeah,
I'll look
that's
forward
the
to that
dream.
too,
Yeah.
man.
Oh,
And
thanks. Yeah.
does it feature some L beats too? You said too as well.
There is some music on there. My brother's music's on there. Yeah, there's like a little radio you can interact with, and
Uh,
just put some stuff on there. Yeah.
cool, man. Well, hey, with that, man, like this is a question I always ask everybody I talk to, man. So you go
Yeah.
by the L, man, and probably super obvious that it's probably based off of your first name, Larry, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just wanted to confirm, just for the folks, man, was there any special story behind the name on how that came about, or how you went
um,
in with the L, man?
yeah.
That was pretty cool.
There really isn't. My first rap name was Vibes, spelled Vhibes. As
Oh,
I was
crazy!
a
I didn't know
kid.
that.
So
When
that
you were
was
Lifted
my
Sons?
was I no, I think it was before that. It was before that.
Oh, dope.
Yeah. So when I
Yeah.
got to Hawaii, it sort of shifted and I couldn't think of anything cool. And I just said L, once, and I think that just caught on. Like, you know, the crew would just call me L, or
Yeah.
and that stuck. So
Yeah. I love it, man. So
it's
that's
not
cool.
good for search algorithms though. Like
Oh no, no, right, right,
yeah, yeah,
right.
it's
Yeah. So
pretty
when I
bad
was
for
trying to do like some more
that.
background investigation on some of the stuff you did too, yeah, that was very
Yeah, that's
difficult,
a
but that's
mistake.
good. You made it.
Yeah,
You made it real easy for me to send me all the
cool.
links. So that's cool, man. Man, well, hey, man, you've been doing music for a long time, man. 20 plus years, man, and it's part of your life. But man,
Yeah.
I mean, just from your words, man, what has music done for you personally?
Oh, what has it done for me? Man, it's looking back, I think it's actually like it's always been a form of like meditation. That's something that I go to. It's not only the creative outlet, but it's like gardening. It's just the thing that's there that I go to feel joy and contentment, and it's always different. There's always things to explore and you can never know enough. So it's almost like one of the foundations of my existence basically. So it's been huge. It's just kind of a part of my identity, I guess.
Yeah, most definitely, man.
Yeah.
What else does L do for fun, man? Aside from music and video games, man, what do you like to do on the weekends, man, or with your family?
Oh, just spending time with, my girlfriend and I. We love hiking and running and getting out in nature and
Yeah,
like, experiencing that stuff and, eating, baking, cooking, just all, yeah, the living stuff, the daily joys basically.
Yeah, absolutely,
So
man. I've been
yeah,
trying to, Seppi comes here quite frequently, man, and you got roots in Hawaii too as well, man. You got to get back up here, man, and see all your folks,
dude,
man.
that's actually a goal, man. Like to make it out there. Also Japan, like to make it back there and
Oh,
kind of revisit, yeah,
yeah. When was the
revisit
last
some of those
time you were in
places.
Japan? Was it just back in the early two
Oh,
thousands, or have you gotten a chance to visit like years
um,
later?
I did go back. My parents were still living there years ago, and I flew out to see them.
Oh,
Um, but that it was just just for family. Like it was spending time with my folks basically. But that was the last time. No, actually,
yeah,
I should. That wasn't the last time. We went. Our whole family went back there. We did a big family trip to the Philippines, like where
nice.
my mom grew up.
Okay.
Like the Visayas and but yeah, we made it back out there. So it's been a while though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I had to go there for work last week, man. It was just a whirlwind
Oh,
visit.
dude. Yeah.
So,
What'd you think?
oh my God, it's crazy, man, being there as an adult, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I've
different.
had like, yeah, fond memories. Now, like, I'm not a broke kid, right? I got a little bit of money, right, where I can like
Oh yeah.
do and explore a little bit. But
Yeah.
I was very limited to what I could do when I was a kid. But just going there
Oh,
as an
dude.
adult and being able to just travel all around. I mean, it was localized to the Tokyo area too, and
Yeah.
I was still working. Like, after I got off at 6 p.m., I would just stay in Shibuya, have dinner, and
Oh
just take
yes.
it all
Yeah.
in, man.
Oh, I miss
That was
Shibuya.
intense. So I shot a lot of video, B-roll video,
Oh,
so
nice.
that I'll be using for a video
For a video.
in the next month or so, man.
Dude, that's
Centered
awesome.
around like the Shibuya crosswalk. So I'll have
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
footage there, man. And, yeah,
Oh
I'm
man.
excited to use it, man. We get the track done. And,
Oh, I can't wait to see that. That's
yeah,
gonna be awesome, man.
so
The
it'd be
wall of
interesting.
people. Yeah.
But it was cool, man. So yeah, yeah. So at some point, man, I like to just go back, not in a work
Yeah.
capacity, enjoy it.
Just to visit, right? And yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
same
even
here.
make it down. I'm still trying to debate if I'll travel down the coast
Yeah.
or in that area, or maybe make it down to. But either way, man, it's a great place, man. It's cool.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, man. I'm gonna
yeah.
test your the Filipino in you, man. What is L's favorite Filipino food, man?
I'm gonna go with so I do like pancit because my mom makes it, but
Yeah.
lumpia. I'm gonna say lumpia.
All right, man. That's good,
Yeah.
man. How daring, how brave are you? Do you taste that? Do you eat some of the more Filipino stuff like dinuguan? Or are you
Um I feel shamed.
no, you shouldn't, because I don't know. I don't either, right?
Yeah,
So
I don't Dinuguan, no, balut, no.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, anything with blood, nah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass.
No, hey, nothing wrong, man. I'm with the
Yeah.
basics too, man. So I figure I asked, man.
It's
Figure out
awesome, man.
how daring your palate is, man.
Yeah.
Good deal, man. Well, hey, thanks for taking the time, man, to speak with me, man. I had a blast, man. It was good to get
Oh,
to know
thank
you,
you, man.
man. And before we cut, man, do you want to tell the folks where they can find your music?
Oh, just the 12th letter .bandcamp.com, just on Bandcamp. But you can't search for it. You can't find me in the search bar.
That was
That's
the
the
good
sad thing.
workaround. The 12th letter, man. That was
Yeah,
good.
the 12th letter. Yep.
Yeah.
That's I guess I have to go by that now. Yeah.
No, hey, that's great, man. Yeah, Instagram, you get some great posts out there too. But man, yeah, look up my man's music, man. It's dope on the producer tip, MC tip, and you can scratch it
Oh,
up like
appreciate
a
it.
king, man. Hey, so thank you again. I appreciate it. I look forward to continuing to make music with you, man. And
Absolutely, man.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
we should
excited.
do it again, man. Maybe we should get the whole Cold crew on here, man. I think that would be really
Yes.
fun, man. So
I'm
we
gonna
can
ask
just
him. Yeah.
yeah, please, man. We'll
All
BSC
right.
hip hop, man. So all right, man. Hey, have a good day, brother. We'll talk soon.
You too, man. Yeah. All
All
right.
right.
That was awesome.